Hey guys, Deva here. I really wanted to avoid talking about this, but now that Carl got involved, this topic got way out of hands. And that is mostly because the allegations against me are actually 100 times more serious than they are in reality. I'm trying to ignore it, but I simply can't get peace in my head by the constant discrediting of my entire reputation and the hard work I put in the last 7 years or 7,000 hours of Monster Hunter are being taken away from me. So I took my last bit of energy that I had to make a small response video. Well, I don't know if it will end up small, but yeah, I'm gonna try to make it as small as possible. Before we start, am I guilty for being an ass to some people that insult me or that I somehow didn't like or that offended me? Yes, totally. I used to be a very impulsive person. If someone offended me, I would go really hard back on them. But these days, more than 2 years ago, I changed a lot and improved as a human, and I'm happy to not react as I used to. However, it was never one sided, but this doesn't matter. I will apologize for this and I hope to be forgiven. Did I have a huge ego? Yes, I did, and I think it's somewhat normal being a competitive person. But I realized that having a big ego just hurts oneself. There is no reason to have an ego and puts a fog over your mind that doesn't let you see things clearly. The podcast clip used in Carl's video, which makes me seem like a totally unlikable person, and I can see why so, is also dating back 3 years ago. I believe it was used to strengthen their lack of so called evidence and stray viewers to get emotional over the case, which will strengthen their opinion. And this is usually used also in court strategies. People try to make the audience emotional so the they attract to them to their side, let alone the Juice's screenshots, which were totally relevant on Juice's videos to the case and completely a low blow to go on Discord and dig up old shit unrelated to the runs. Now you're asking yourself, why is this relevant? Well, simply because the entire allegations is that I'm a cheater, which in cheating implies an unfair advantage in some sort of competition. So that's what cheating is. Which, in my opinion, I'm totally not guilty of and will disprove in this video. I love Carl. I watched all his videos since years. I'm a huge speedrunning fan. That's how I got into speedrunning. I started by watching Mario videos. I'm excited every time he uploads a new one. But I think Carl did a horrible job on this one to give viewers context of what actually happened or how this community runs does speedruns, because Monster Hunter speedrunning is completely different right now than any other speedrunning community because it's still a baby speedrunning community. Rules are made, the rules changes every time there is a line that gets pushed back and changes. And this is clearly visible on the comments I get. 99% of the people who commented had similar responses, such as, this guy modifies game files and is a cheater. Especially on my first Descendant speedruns, which is a server-based game, so doing that there is impossible. You can modify games on a server-based game without to get nuked by the developers. But I'm aware these are just people, the kind of people to gather up and to throw stones at someone who got pointed a finger on and leave again. Like, these people probably won't even watch the video, probably don't even care about me. They're like basically loose haters that came to shit on me and go again. So yeah. And on Monster Hunter, well, on Monster Hunter, it's normal to use mods. Everyone does. It's accepted by the leaderboards, and it's a gray area with a line that keeps getting pushed back. Before I move to AI editing allegations, which are against the leaderboard rules, let me please explain to everyone who isn't familiar with Monster Hunter speedrunning rules and how tolerated modding is. I think this is very important for context given because I'm supposedly cheating on every single run and I've been cheating for 7 years, which is complete bullshit. In Monster Hunter speedrunning, monster RNG to an extent is allowed to communities agreement and how utterly unnecessary some kinds of RNG are, like fixing the spawn position, HP pool, size of a monster, and food skills. This line was pushed back after Fex's mod was released, which allowed Palico attack boost, Drunk Bird, Force Gajalakas, which is also just RNG manipulation. So people also at some point accepted that because as I said, this game has so much unnecessary RNG, people just start pushing that line. Also overlays, but they are still in a gray area. There isn't really any moderation or absolutely nobody shows the folders and exes that are running during the game. So basically, I guess no one really cares. and can assume that 95% of the people using them without to disclose them. If someone was super serious about competition in this game, they will just show their folders or stream their attempts. However, AI manipulation, despite being also just an RNG factor, is not accepted by the leaderboards, nor very appreciated by the community for the most part, because it's a massive advantage on runs that are almost purely AI RNG dependent, which isn't many. It's just 5 endgame monsters because the fights take much longer, so there is more AI RNG to get perfect punishable attacks on. So yeah, the runs where AI really matters, if you do it on the long run, it's just Fatalis, Elation, and so on. So anyway, let's get to the point to keep this video short as possible. It's a very simple case for me. The leaderboard stopped accepting rounds around the end of 2020. That's basically around when the first THK files started to appear and be available in the community. THK files are editing of the monster's AI RNG, or with a lot of skill scripting even the fight to some extent. The first ones appeared when Alatron came out because people started looking more intense into it due to no one liking it being a flip coin RNG on the wallbang. This means I could have not physically submitted runs earlier with AI editing because there was no such thing. And somehow the 1-2 Alatron runs that when the AI editing appeared, that somehow slided in the leaderboards. And then, 2-3 months later, the leaderboards were dead again forever. Like since 2020, as you can see here, there was no more runs accepted. So this complete allegation of me being competitive, despite the words I use and make it sound like it, is not legit. But I will further disprove it very much more. And why do I say somehow? Because I don't remember if it was me who submitted them. If I did, I heavily apologize. I was a complete idiot and was driven by grit. But I don't recall doing so or ever caring about the dying leaderboards that led to submit runs there. Like, let's be honest, the monster on the leaderboards in this, I think even everyone would agree that they're not something serious. They still shouldn't be discredited as a form of like competing with each other, but they have like no moderation and so on. And yeah, everyone has access to submit video links, so it could be anyone submitting my runs there. I was very driven to be the first when I got into speedrunning, and my ego kept growing bigger, so I did have the fastest time on a lot of matchups that factually were before AI editing was a thing, or even on console where you can't really modify game files. I got my first PC around mid Iceborne, and that was simply to speed up my content and use mods and do runs without shitty RNG. Anyway, 95% of my PC runs are so-called monster lock runs, which means I use strategies and tools from the game to avoid having any AI RNG. This means that even if I wanted to use AI editing, or if people want to claim I did, there is nothing to edit, there is no RNG. If you take a look on my second channel, where I upload most of my optimized speedruns, and you're free to look through all of them, the majority doesn't even have a single monster attack that is RNG. All of these are legit speedruns and even follow speedrunning leaderboard rules. So yeah, every single run locks the monster down and doesn't depend on its moveset. It's impossible to AI. You can't claim such thing. Like, you can't just discredit every single run. Or even on extremely minimal RNG runs that aren't even worth editing the AI, because it's not worth the hassle over resetting 1 or 2 hours. Editing THK files costs also a lot of knowledge, effort, and money, since you have to commission modders for it. And oh dude, if I dropped a list of the people who at least once asked me for an AI edit or fixed attacks, the focus would instantly stray away from me. But all I want is peace. I don't hold grudge against anyone. I wish everyone the best in life. Wrath, envy, and resentment are horrible sins that I sadly realized very late in life, but it is what it is. I really, truthfully, don't hate anyone. I love you all, guys. So what I'm being completely crucified and blamed for using AI editing in competitive runs, as much as I had an ego and had an outburst of how it was the best, and people usually tried to really bait that out of me, like people are very malicious against me in the past years. I will never use an unfair advantage to beat a person, never. I could not live with it. And even the people who ask me to link them the modders that can AI edit for them, I warn them to not use it for competitive reasons. Believe it or not, I have a lot of morals that I want to always do the right thing, even though it doesn't always work, but I'm trying. I simply strayed towards less RNG runs when I used it, and to showcase the community what's possible. On the Lantern runs that somehow landed on the leaderboards, I purposefully didn't beat my friend Boosted, because if I did, it will be due to having better RNG. Boosted is a beast and holds currently the Lantern Chargeblade World Record with 257. I mean, my run was it was a 347. Like, you can't take this seriously as a competitive run. It was literally a meme. And after Juicy dropped his allegations videos against me, I went to fix my mistakes for having illegal AI do it to mod malfunctions and redid both runs on stream, getting a 306 on the charge blade, and which is just 9 seconds away from the world record, and I did that within 1 week on stream, and 159 on HPG. I have the VOD still on my PC saved, since Twitch only saved them for 30 days if they ever get requested from me. This is factual. What does this prove? Well, nothing more than that I was able to achieve a way better time without the illegal mods or the illegal movesets that happened by malfunction. Or even a world record on HPG within 4 hours of streaming it. Does it justify not disclosing it 3 years ago? No, but I promise again, my intents were never malicious. I simply love and have a passion for running, else I will not spend 1,000 hours climbing rocks in expeditions to simply find an exploit and find a usable ledge for my next task runs or aerial runs. Anyways, guys, what I'm really trying to say is that I 100% don't care about competitiveness, at least not anymore since a few years. Most of the shit that's against me is taken from past years back. There is old screenshots. The podcast was 3 years ago, and the only claims people have against me are literally like the past, and not even against cheating. I found joy in the true spirit of speedrunning, which for my philosophy is to achieve faster times and better strategies building up over the course of the years. My preferred own rule set of that is to diminish as much RNG as possible. As you can see, I'm also somewhat into task running, tool-assisted speedrunning, which generally could be every single PC run, since all of the PC runs use to some extent tool assisting. But truly, tool-assisted speedruns are where you have if you watch like Mario tool-assisted runs, like macros with scripted inputs, and requires both a modder and a guy that has knowledge about optimizing to really do the perfect inputs and the perfect strategy to be as fast as possible, frame perfect. In Monster Hunter, you can't really do task runs because they take up to 6 months to create and script. Credit to TSC for being the only person so far to create tools for true Monster Hunter tool-assisted speedrunning. I always disclose my tool-assisted speedruns, and people knew about them and loved them. And there is no more effort than a tool-assisted speedrun. Those runs literally take 6 months. Now, what I want to take full guilt of is for not disclosing AI edited runs, but I'm not a cheater. I did not disclose them because no one else that uses AI editing did. And it's not a justification for not being transparent, but I ask you guys to understand why I didn't so. As I said, AI editing is not appreciated in the community currently, and even if disclosing it would cause issues. Probably not as much as I have right now. But yeah, will I use AI editing in the future? Most likely. I promise to disclose it though, because that's again how I want to run on some runs. Obviously not all runs are worth using it. But yeah. However, I really want to, if I want to claim competitiveness, the only real way to be competitive, in my opinion, in this game is to stream it. Without streaming your runs, literally every single run right now on YouTube could have other RNG mods that aren't allowed by the leaderboards, which some people currently do, like cheated affinity, which I found completely stupid. But Juicy loves to ignore it when confronted about it. I'm not saying Juicy did it, but he knows very well who his friends are that cheated AI, affinity, and what else, and makes Juicy a complete hypocrite. But I forgive you, you're still a kid, and I think you will learn a lot to not be emotional, because this attack towards me was 100% personal, and it was never about cheating. And there's proofs with screenshots about that, how you are onto me. Like you said clearly, I want to get Deva before getting, like, you never mention anyone else. And there is so many people that use AI editing and you know of, and you never went about it. So yeah, so to compile all that info together, yes, I've used AI editing on a few runs, like Alachon, Gold Raytheon flips, Garuga flips, like, increasing the chance to get a flip, and some first attacks of monsters to get heroics. But fixing a first attack will eventually just be default in wilds, because now that people know how to AI edit, it will be inventable to pretend it doesn't exist. Like, most runners are simply sick to reset for a first attack of the monsters if they go for heroics runs, because usually you don't need a second attack, you just need to get heroics with the optimal attack, and then yeah. It's simply just another flip coin RNG like spawn, sizes, HP pools. The only difference is that it's not publicly available yet, so not everyone can afford it. And yes, this exactly is the reason why it can make it an unfair advantage if going competitively. In Wilds, whether people want it or not, there will be a public AI tool within the first few months of the game, because people now have figured out, and there will be, whether it is for speed, it won't even be for speedrunning. AI editing tools were created for modders to create custom movesets of monsters and make custom monsters, and I guess the speedrunning community uses it to their advantage. Now, is it fair to get death rates and neutrally spit it on for what I did? It's not for me to decide. All I did though was showcase optimized runs, and my mistake was just to not disclose it in the descriptions that the first attack or a few attacks have been fixed. And this is just, again, this is around 5% of my entire runs on my channel. I'm not trying to downplay it, but I'm saying that if I spend 5,000 hours running, at tops 250 was on AI edited runs. And this, for me, this tells you that there is no malicious intent behind it. I wouldn't be able to run so much freely if I didn't have a passion for it and just enjoy the running itself. Simply just a new rule set that doesn't exist, no competitiveness. I just strive to showcase what's the most optimized speedruns possible, and I will disclose it in the future if anything more than the community tolerates. Anyway, yeah, up to you guys to decide if all this hate is being justified, or if it really was made a bigger thing than it actually is, especially since I'm not a competitive runner, and you can claim that I am one, I'm not. And the world records I claim to be world records clearly follow even leaderboards rules, since AI editing will not be possible there because there is no iRuns and no monster moveset in those runs, or the runs done before AI editing existed, before 2020. I still don't care about world records. I know it sounds cringe to say the world record to me still. It's just something nice to claim, because it's easier to people to explain the world record than it is. Okay, so for me, the word has no value. You could do a world record on a monster without any competition within 10 minutes, simply because it has no time limit to break. My mindset, my personal mindset, is to go down milliseconds of optimization with, regardless if it's competitive or not. That's what my world records are. They are not really claiming that they're the best. It's claiming that I tried to get this run to the physical limit, and that's what that's what my mindset is for speedrunning. I only care to showcase true physical limits of monster and weapon matchups using whatever is available and still within bounds of the games. I'll be more open about the AI thing though, if we get a new tool. Oh, also, Juicy, the one you edit about Rice AI. Okay, first of all, you can't edit AI in Rice, but the thing I requested publicly, purposefully publicly, because I didn't try to do anything sneaky, it was what everyone was requesting for. It says AI pathing. It was about the subspawn. It's just not called subspawn, it's called AI pathing. Everyone wanted the monster to spawn in the position, because even though we had fixed spawns, there was the so-called subspawns, which aren't really subspawns. There are pathings. And yeah, it didn't happen though, so because no one will bother to do it. The only thing that Hotcrin did was for a specific monster, but that was so tedious that it has been done for like manually fixing the coordinates and shit. And Carl, the people you worked with are, you know that they are biased against me. You probably already noticed it. And okay, bias doesn't necessarily mean that the evidence will be fake, but it can definitely lead and show you a very worse picture of what it actually is. Before I leave you guys, I want to put this message of Carl, which was a response to what I said. Now, I want you to think, if there is already a big culture of people using it, doesn't it simply mean it's time to normalize it? That's how it happens, because people clearly don't want to deal with Flipcoin RNG. As I stated at the start, Monster Hunter is a baby speedrun game, like it's just started its timeline, and the line will get pushed backwards further and more, and stuff will get tolerated more and more. And we are already at AI editing. It's inventable, and whilst it will be accepted. Now, what we can do is just simply make rule sets for everyone to be satisfied, and maybe have like some serious leaderboards that care about moderation, and maybe have more people that care about competitive running to stream their attempts. Because, yeah, okay, I will not claim anything because I don't want to strafe the focus away from me, but simply, like, you can't really trust any run if it's not on done live on stream, because you can't see what they used. Anything that is RNG is not visible, as simple as that. But yeah, have a nice day and happy hunting, guys. Bye bye.